yo.
Sounds great, Marcus.
Look at that. Coming
Yeah.
home to who you are with Marcus and Mark and Raquel and Mary Jose and a whole table, a whole and Natalie, I remember, and off camera Susan. Wonderful to see the garden scene there. Mark, please introduce us.
Yes, so I am at a place here in the middle of the French countryside.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, an
we are
amazing.
having audio trouble, which I think they're picking you up. They're picking you up on the audio, but for me myself, I can't hear you.
Okay, then I am
Might
going
be a
to
me
fix that
problem.
very quickly.
And we're gonna sort this because this often happens with. I think it might be me.
And is it
There it is,
back?
Mark.
All
It's
right, cool.
back.
So
So introduce us to the fine bunch that we have on your side in the garden.
yes, so what I was sharing is that we are in the middle of the French countryside in a beautiful location here. And I've been here, I don't
Mhm.
know, 5 or 6 times, and it really is a place that feels like coming home. It it has this amazing
Hey,
quality, this amazing energy that when you arrive here, within a day or within even less than a day, you settle and you come at peace, and amazing things start to happen, amazing conversations start to happen, synchronicities happen, and it's just like
mhm.
I'm home. We're home. So
Hey,
we are at a
yeah.
beautiful place, and we have actually.
It's
Yes, go ahead.
there's
There's more
more
to
to
the
the
party,
party.
but maybe not right at this moment. Yeah.
That's all right. Yeah, we find it without and we find it within. You notice I'm in a new location
Hmm.
myself, which is a home in between home. And another project I'll share with you afterwards, but the inner citadel in regards to stoicism, finding home within here, a place where you belong, a place where you find peace, and a place where you feel welcomed to express yourself. So let's talk about these
Yes.
expressions, Mark. We are on chapter, oh, on the recording. We are going through our book, Coming Home to Who You Are. The ladies there, you have, can you lift your books? They were showing me earlier on the call. That's awesome. This started out in our head and it's out in the world now. Coming of age story for a group of high school, it's for university and high school students, but it's about a group of university students um, figuring out who they are as they navigate this world. Um, you can get an advanced reader's copy by scanning the QR code there or going to being at full potential / coming home. And we are in the third part of the book, in the home stretch coming towards the end. Mark, can you share a bit with us about what's happening in this chapter?
Yes, I'm happy to do that. So we're at chapter 19,
Mhm.
and Professor Amar, who has left the university on his own, desire, his own decision to stick with his values and to open the next chapter of his career, of his working life. But he decides to take some time off and reflect on what it is he really wants to bring to life, into the world. Like he wants to get very clear on his vision. So he takes some time off and he ends up writing an article that captures the essence of where he sees education going. And
Mhm.
he remembers that he has a very good friend in the alumni office at the university that he used to work at. And so he decides to go and pay him a visit, James Cooper.
Mm.
And so he has a chat with James and introduces his article, speaks a little bit about it, and then James decides to publish it. And so, this article will eventually reach all the alumni of the university and put a lot of things in motion. So I think this chapter is actually really important because it's one where it's kind of the end of one era and the beginning of a new one. And
Mm.
for me, one of the themes around this is synchronicities and how does that work, and when how do we partner with sort of the creative forces, if you like. and what does it require, right, to put in motion things, and to open doors and to manifest, and all of that, I think, is really
Sure.
core to this.
What one thing that stuck out to me as I heard you say that was James is about the distribution, right? He's publication, communication, and so on. Amar had the idea. Amar synthesized the idea. He clarified the idea through writing. And everybody has their own task inside the expression of that idea and the amplification of it. Because just the foreshadowing, that's how it eventually gets to Tanya.
Yep.
But it's only when we put that idea out there through the effort. That's what expression means. Exerting a force or pressing, pushing it out, expression,
Yeah.
that you can find those synchronicities. What's up? You look like you're about to say something.
No, it's like, I mean, if you think about the let's say the life forces, right, or the universe, or the
Sure.
things that we can co-create with, if we don't clearly tell it what we want, then it cannot really work with us. Can it do its magic if we are not informing it and being clear with the intentions, the desires, the things that we want to build, to create in the world? And for me, that's a question mark, right?
Well, for me, that's a yes and. I can tell you what came to mind there. And then I want to invite the participants there.
Yeah.
Uh, you're absolutely right. And it's also a dance in that if you're in tune with higher powers, greater forces, you're asking for divine guidance. And you set about doing what you believe is right in collaboration, right? And then trusting that as you figure it out, you then know more what you want. And I believe higher forces are asking, yeah, what do you want? But then
Mm.
also, to get there, you also ask higher forces, hey, what do you want? And that's where the synchronicity is. If you've ever
Mm.
played improv or jazz, it's just like we're figuring it out along the way,
Mm.
and then you match up.
Very nice.
It's a dance.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a dance, exactly.
What do you want? Yeah.
We create space for our participants, and I would love to create space for those around the table. Raquel, I'm gonna call out your name like a teacher. Raquel, Natalie, Mary Jose. Um, what stands out to you, and what would you love to contribute to the conversation? No one in particular, but as you're so moved, as this is our conversation.
But I think I was just thinking in the dance of communication or pushing things out, and it relates a little bit to something you said even before you started at the LinkedIn Live, um, and we've been talking about is how do you get clear yourself to actually put it out there, and then to communicate that in a way that then others can communicate about it, because it's not only about getting clear for yourself and passing it on, but if to open doors like you're talking about, then it has to be in a way that others can also communicate about it.
Mm.
So and eventually you need a feedback loop in terms of making that happen, probably, and that's part of the yes and too, and maybe it takes into a surprising direction, as it sounds like it did in the chapter. So that's my first thoughts.
Mm.
How do you get to that inner
Mhm.
clarity?
Inner outer.
Well,
And,
into the outer, that it might be amplified.
and also when we are
Sorry,
very
Natalie.
clear about what we want, to be open to what you say, to be open to receive whatever message that can come, and whether compliment, whether orientate, whether amplify, whether give clarity. Because when we are so clear, we may go maybe a little bit, how do you say, depth.
Mm.
So sensing also.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah. So and the messages may come in very surprising ways too. So it really requires an openness of the heart, of the soul, of the mind.
Mm.
Easy to say, not easy to do.
Mm. You know, another thing that came up, Marcus, just quickly, is the power of
Sure.
asking for help, right? And I think that's what
Mhm.
Professor Amar is doing as well. He's going to an old friend that he
Mhm.
knows is in a certain position, and he asks for help essentially, right?
Mhm. 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 Mhm.
And sometimes that's not
It's
easy to
funny.
do, to reach out to people.
Um, I hear you say it's not easy. I'll share another perspective. I think it's quite easy actually, and I'll explain. Um, he's going to James to say, I have this idea. If it's in alignment with what you want, publish it.
True.
And the reason I say it's easy is because Armar is clear on what he wants, the results, and what he's pursuing, and he's finding collaborators who are in
Mm.
alignment with that. Um, that's what I love about Amar. It's like there's that sense of clarity that he brings.
Yeah. Nice.
I I want to touch on something that Natalie said. Is that correct? Sorry, Natalie.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. When you said it was we mentioned dance 3 times. Miguel, also myself. But I used to actually teach Latin dance or partner dance, and while you're expressing, there's also that aspect of listening. And you touched on that. It's like listen. And Mark has spoken about this before. And that's what it is to be human, right? We have to put it out there while also listening to receive, because that's how you do good collaborations. You listen also. I just wanted to highlight that as well. I love that. Yeah.
Marcus, we have a listening expert here at the table, huh?
Wonderful. Who might that be? I guess they're listening
This
now.
crazy woman here.
You looked very, very present while I was communicating, so
Yeah, I
I would
was
assume, yeah.
receiving.
You know what's awesome about
What's that?
listening? Well, not awesome about listening. Well, communication is my
Mhm,
background too, right? So you have the sender, the receiver, yeah, in all, and then you have feedback
mhm.
and so on. There's no communication without noise,
Right.
and it's a lot of people are thrown off by the noise for the signal, but it's just like understanding. Okay, how am I receiving this? As the listener, you are still a creator by giving meaning to it, and you can choose an empowered meaning on what you hear.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? Like, because as a listener, when it lands, you have to acknowledge the bias, you have to acknowledge the noise, you have to acknowledge that this might be
Right. But
construed, but you're actively a participant by saying, I'm going to
we
put
say
meaning.
we have to, but most of us think we're most of us think we're listening pretty good, and we don't realize sometimes the assumptions, the biases, the filters that we have on. And so becoming aware of that is a lifetime journey.
Hey, a lifetime journey of
But
listening.
that's part of the dance. So as long as we're not too hard on ourselves, we can have fun with it,
Um,
or others.
hmm. The whole thing is being this is life. Like you said, it's a lifeline. We're listening as well as we're contributing to it, and it's constantly
Well, I
happening.
mean, if that's happening in a space like what we have happening right now in this very moment, then we're creating something new. It's not just I'm listening to you and you're listening to me, and it's just this back and forth ping pong, thing. But there's something new being created in this very moment.
Mm.
And even though it's about the book, and the chapter, and what's been created, I mean, that's helping us think, and we're thinking about our lives, and also helping you think about where you go next, and maybe even new insights into what you already created that you didn't realize before.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you for listening.
So any
Mary,
sorry, I want to just see if Suzanne, because we have Suzanne here and Marie Jose here as well. If you want to add anything to this topic before we go to our next the next part of our conversation.
Yeah. Marcus, I was in this beautiful group with my soulmates asking for help. So they were all reading the book what I was written. And it was beautiful to listen to all the feedback and to see what was coming from there. So it was very helpful to really have um, great listeners to what I am clear in my message, but how are they receiving it? And to really listen very careful to their feedback. That was great to have that
yeah,
experience.
feedback.
Marie Jose is writing
That's what makes it worth
a
it.
children's book, actually.
She shared it last time.
Yeah.
I
Well, have you
remember.
seen it? You haven't read it, right?
No. I've what
No. Okay.
did
Yeah.
she may have held it up? Do you have a cover?
No.
No, no,
No
no,
cover
no,
yet.
no,
Oh,
not
no.
yet,
Okay,
not
okay,
yet.
Yeah.
But I
okay.
really like to share it also with you.
That will happen
I
at some
I
did.
would,
point.
yeah, of course. I would love. I would love. Um, very briefly, what is your children's book about? May I ask?
It is starting from a balançoire, is it?
A swing.
A swing here in the French countryside. And
Yeah.
there I am dreaming about a better world. And I traveled a lot in my life into all the countries. So I'm going to the north and the west and the east and the south. And all those countries I am meeting um, children, and I only, as a fairy, I only ask one simple question, and then that take a little transformation is taking place then. And
Mm.
so there are short stories, and so I really am very grateful that they are listening and are reading if it was coming through, because for me it is all there, but my most big challenge in my life is to bring heaven on earth. So it has really to
Hey,
ground there, and
yes.
they were very helpful for that.
Well, our words create our world, and I look forward to supporting you in not only bringing heaven to earth, but also having it emerge also from from the questions and stories that you bring.
Yes.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Okay. Your turn.
I think I know I want to add that
Sure.
the challenge of giving Mary Jose feedback is also that we have we have to listen to the book or talk about the book in terms of our inner child. We
Okay.
can't just read it as an adult because obviously Mary Jose wants feedback. So we have to question. Well, yes, I know what that is, but would I have known as a child?
Mm.
And what is the childlike fun and quality about listening and reading it? And that was quite interesting and very valuable.
Taking you back to a place you would not have gone had not Mary Jose invited you there with her words.
Exactly,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's
Magic.
beautiful.
Mm.
It kind of reminds you of the home that is already with you that
Mhm.
you may have taken your awareness away from.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then the beauty was that we did that 2 days ago, and then
Hmm.
the next morning, um, Mark was giving us and about your book, and then we are all reading the book of Mark and you at the whole day. So we were really impressed and touched by reading all those chapters. I was really very much touched because it is coming direct in my heart what what you two are writing.
Mary Jose, your words are well received. and I have better writing to share with you that I think that will really resonate. I will send you some more writing that I know you will appreciate. But thank you for yeah, for recognizing the work Mark and I have done together too.
And I'm also a little bit jealous that you two have.
Oh.
Yeah, you. I'm also a little bit because I also like to have someone who is partnering with me. So, but I have now 4 ambassadors, and that is great. One for the north, one for the south, and for the east and the west. So I know where to ask my questions.
You are surrounded. That is what collaborations are. It is you're absolutely right.
And the structure of the book is
Mark,
also the 23 dimensions.
Of the house. So she structured her child's book
yeah.
according to the human potential house.
Ah, 23 comes up
Yep.
again.
23 is a
Yeah.
number. So here's a funny little story for you, Marcus. When I was reaching out to you,
Talk to me.
like an hour ago, just to check in
Mm-hmm.
if we were, when the LinkedIn Live was,
Mm-hmm. It's
yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah, yeah, it's the one.
Mark.
I was, I wrote, are we doing the link, the live? No, I was going to ask you if we were doing the live session
The
now.
recording.
And instead of live
Mhm.
session, I wrote the love session. Are we going to do the love session now? And this starting to feel a bit like a love session here. So
uh, you mistakenly wrote that,
yeah,
right? I didn't see
I
that, but
edited it.
yeah,
I should have left it actually now that I'm experiencing this
that's all right.
sort of love session. It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
So
In our
go ahead.
mhm, go on. Well, I was gonna say in our last 8 minutes, I to connect to bridge what Maria Jose said with something briefly mentioned, um, talking about the need for collaborators and working in sharpening and encouraging going along the journey with other people. Thank you for the new participants in the new tribe for the contribution you've made. And there was a larger conversation on LinkedIn earlier this week in regards to inner development,
You've seen that.
where there was a have you? And the comment I made was, and I shared this with you, Mark. Tell me what you're for. Share with me what change do you want to bring, as opposed to saying this won't work and that won't work. And it's when I reached out to you to say, hey, this is who I am. This is my inner world, because I read your poetry in your book, and I said, hey, there's some resonance here. That led to this book. I think my point being, it's when you express after doing the inner work, when you listen to the inside, right, Raquel, of what's in there, that you might express from that, you will find other people who are in alignment with that. And that brings it all back to synergy. But it's just, tell me what you're for. Tell me what people will say, what they'll die for, or what's not right. But tell me, what will you live for? And I think that's, I don't know. I want to bring life and hope in whatever I write.
No, I think I think that's a really nice connection you're bringing, Marcus. And I think a lot of people who are listening in will probably know about this LinkedIn conversation that happened over the last week. That was really, I would guess, bringing a critical view of the inner development goals, right?
Yes, that is the context. I finish your thought. Sorry, I'm just at the bit. Come on.
And like you said, describing why, all the reasons why it's insufficient, and putting attention on that. And I always find it's amazing how it does generate so much discussion, and so much mental discussion, versus focusing on what it has done positive and how we can continue to, move forward and build on it, right? It's looking at it as a foundation, not as the end in itself, but as a sort of a stepping stone, that we can use to further create and build from. And I feel like that's what's giving life to projects like this, and to all kinds of other projects are being birthed out of this starting point. And that energy will get cut off if the conversation focuses too much on all the reasons why it's not 100% optimal. Yeah.
I wanted to add two things just to give this context, right? And this comes from Marcus Aurelius when he says, I will go out into the world and I will meet this person, that person, this person. An antagonist is the thing that is against the protagonist. And it doesn't necessarily mean evil or wrongdoer, but it just means it's the pressure that is going to have you express what really is within you. And when I see that conversation, it's not that conversation is bad. Not that it's good, but it's like, how will I alchemize this for the fuller expression of what I'm doing? Because I never would have thought certain things until I said, oh yeah, well, does his criticism hold validity? So there's space for that and there's places for that. But the final question is what you said, Mark. What action am I going to do because of that? I practice IDGs because I want to create well-being within the world. Because I see the well-being within me and what has worked for my good. But it's like, moral issue aside, like, how do we create flourishing life? Like, how do we make life well? And I think that transcends faith groups, faith communities, that transcends politics. That is what it is to be human development. How can I take care of myself to be in service to you, that you might take care of yourself and be in service to me? I say that again and again and again. But okay, I'm getting off my soapbox now. But but that's so true. I think that's missing a point right there. And I think that conversation for Arising, it just spurs me on to be more like, yeah, this is a message that needs to be out there. And I say that as a person who practices a particular faith and recognizes other faith groups. Yes, that's there, but also we're human, even before we get to that conversation.
No, I really like what you said about having something that you can respond to. Like, there's a point of view that you may not agree with, but at least it gives you a space to articulate more clearly what you do believe in. And I felt like when I responded to that post, I had to really check in with myself, like, what is my point of view on this, and how would I respond to this? And it was a beautiful process, actually, but I wouldn't have been able to articulate it unless there was that sort of force, or energy that was being put out there, that tension. Yeah.
In a dance, you need that tension matching. Yeah. That's the yin and the yang, and then that agitates for a better expression. Yeah. And, sorry. And the one last thing, you and I have shared. We've talked about this, but it's when there's dignity and respect in the conversation, recognizing the other person's ability to express themselves and valid experience. Let there be tension, but that will make us both better. And that will make us both better.
Make us both better, and it'll make the creation process better as well. I think
we'll push out a baby.
Yeah.
Go on. Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah.
In these final moments, I want to open it up for our guests. Is there anything you want to leave our audience with? To put you on the spot right again, sorry.
I always
but
look
are
at
you ready?
Suzanne because she's such a wise, she's our wise, clear person over there.
The sage of the group.
Yeah.
We have many sages here.
We have many sages here.
Well, I actually would like to say something when you're talking about that tension.
I would love for you to say something.
When you're talking about that tension, it can authentically come from the heart. And then hopefully the heart of the person receiving it will accept it will hear it.
Yeah. The universe has sent us nothing but angels. Yeah.
Yep.
An angel is a message, and when some messages, when they land, it's just like, okay, what is this telling me? How will I respond?
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you, Susan. We're gonna go down the line.
Well, you could,
Ah.
but if anybody else
No, no, as you
I
feel
will
so
add one
moved.
thing
No
too.
pressure.
I just you talked a lot about collaboration. You talked about listening. You talked about tension, and so um, the I still have a lot to learn about the inner development goals. But what I know that in listening to myself, that I truly can't always hear myself until I have other good listeners with me to listen to me. And that's one of the reasons why it's really nice to be here with all of you. So I think we can't do it by ourselves. Even if we do it for ourselves, for well-being, we can't do it alone. And in order to really come home, or to, I guess that's what your book said, to come home, we have to do it with each other, and that's the only way that it'll work. Even if there is tension, even if it makes us have to think, even if it's not easy. And that's we need each other to do that. We can't do it by ourselves. We can do a certain level to ourselves, but we need each other to go beyond even our own awareness of what's going on inside of us. So that's all I wanted to add.
Beautiful. Mirrors.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's also what I
Thank
see
you for
in
sharing,
the book,
Kelly.
in all the conversations with all the characters. I was touching with ears in my eyes because they are finding each other. Eh? The father and the daughter, the father and the son, all the people, they finding finally each other by really accepting that they are challenging, but they really were willing to listen beyond. And that is really what we need in the world, to listen beyond. And it's beautiful written down. So that was really what is the great message for me in the book, and really beautiful said. Thank you for that.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Thank you.
Marcus,
I'm enjoying it.
Natalie is
Okay.
passing.
It's all right.
I'm listening.
This
I'm
reminds you of
listening.
that 70s show.
No, I was just thinking, like, I'm really enjoying not being in the spotlight here, and not having to come up with,
Smart things
all
to
the
say.
smart things to say, Marcus.
You know what it is, Mark?
Sit
This is how
back,
you facilitate a group.
Sorry?
You trust you. Well, I said this is how you facilitate
Yeah.
a group. You trust the wisdom is with the
Exactly.
audience, and you invite them
Yeah.
to share. So I never feel pressured whenever I'm facilitating. It's because I trust it's
Yeah.
with you.
But
I make the space for it to
I've
emerge.
totally
Go on.
loved this. This is for me kind of a
Hey.
dream come true, right? Is the
Okay, tell me about
well, that's what I think our hope is, that the book is going to open up these types of conversations, whether it be in the classroom or between parents and their children. And we've been doing it. We've been practicing this every Friday, and coming on and talking about the chapters. And now to see that we're coming together as a group and having a conversation, and just see how generative it is, and how beautiful it is to hear all these different perspectives and see where all the directions that it goes. It's just one step further on this journey of, I think, manifesting the vision for this story, for this book. So it's actually very meaningful. This moment is very meaningful for me. Yeah. And thank you all.
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
you.
really,
Thank
it's
you for the
amazing.
invitation.
Of course.
Yeah.
And how about you, Marcus? What are your closing thoughts?
I will share with you in that sentiment, and I don't feel I need to add to it, for it's already full. And the only way I can add to it is by adding my silence and acknowledgement.
Beautiful.
For those watching the recording, this is Mark in the French countryside, surrounded with there we go, Raquel, Natalie, Maria Jose, and Susan. Boom. And we've just discussed coming home to who you are. I guess we came home to ourselves. I mean, the book set the context, yet we filled it with the content of ourselves. And if you want an advanced reader copy, you can go there to download the QR or go to beingatfullpotential.com, coming home to who you are. Other than that, until we come home again, this is Marcus.
And Mark.
Be beautiful where you are, and thank you for being on the
Yeah.
journey.
Can we put on that music again just to close it off?
To close it off, here we go.
Coming home to who you are. Yes, coming home to who you are. Coming home to who you are. With Marcus and Mark.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. Be beautiful where you are. Be beautiful in the French countryside, and I'll be beautiful here in Florida.
Thank you, Marcus. It was a pleasure. Till next Friday.
Bye.
Bye.
I can't hear you, Mark, but I'll wave. All right. See you. Bye.
Bye bye.